10 old German cars that were built to last. Why is it that a German engineer in 1985 could build a car that's still running 40 years later, while a modern luxury sedan needs a software patch just to open the windows? What if I told you there was a period when German manufacturers weren't just building cars, they were building arguments? Arguments that precision engineering, obsessive quality control, and a complete refusal to accept good enough could produce machines that simply refuse to age. We're talking about cars that taxi drivers in the Middle East ran to 800,000 kilometers and then complained the ride quality had slightly deteriorated. Machines that survived 2 owners, 3 continents, and 40 years of abuse and still started on the first turn. Today we're counting down 10 old German cars that were built to last forever. And some of them are still working harder than the cars that replaced them. Number 10. Volkswagen Golf MK1, 1974 to 1983. Volkswagen in the early 1970s was facing an existential crisis. The Beetle, which had sustained the company for 3 decades, was dying. The air-cooled rear-engine formula had hit its engineering ceiling. VW needed a replacement that would either save the company or end it. They responded by building one of the most over-engineered small cars in automotive history. The MK1 Golf was designed by Giorgetto Giugiaro and engineered by people who apparently took the word replacement literally. The body was galvanized to a standard that small car manufacturers simply didn't bother with. The chassis was rigid enough that examples driven for 30 years in salt-covered Scandinavian winters still show structural integrity that modern hatchbacks don't achieve when new. The 1.6 diesel engine, agricultural in its simplicity, produced so little stress relative to its engineering tolerance that mechanics genuinely struggled to wear them out as lifetime purchases. Not because they couldn't afford replacements, because replacements weren't necessary. Volkswagen built the MK1 to rescue the company. They built it so well it became immortal. Number 9. Mercedes-Benz W123, 1976 to 1985. Mercedes-Benz looked at the automotive landscape in the mid-1970s and made a decision that would haunt their accountants for decades. They would build a mid-range car to the same engineering standard as their flagship. No compromises, no cost-saving substitutions. The W123 was the result, and it became the most reliable Mercedes ever made, which in the context of this list means one of the most reliable cars ever made by anyone. The inline engines, both petrol and diesel, were built with tolerances that belonged in precision manufacturing rather than automotive production. The diesel variants in particular became legendary. The OM616 and OM617 5-cylinder diesels were so fundamentally unstressable that owners reported 500,000 kilometers with nothing beyond oil changes and the occasional glow plug. In some cases, considerably more. In Africa, the W123 didn't become a used car. It became infrastructure. Taxi operators across the continent ran fleets of them because they understood something the European market forgot. A car that costs more to buy but never needs repairing is cheaper than a car that costs less and breaks constantly. The W123 diesel is still working in places that have consumed 3 generations of every other vehicle. Mercedes accidentally built a development aid program. They called it a mid-range sedan. Number 8. Porsche 911 SC. 1978 to 1983, Porsche's engineers in the late 1970s had a problem that most manufacturers would consider a luxury. Their sports car was getting better every year, but the fundamental architecture, the rear-engine air-cooled layout that everyone said was wrong, kept working. So they refined it obsessively instead of replacing it. The 911 SC represented the point at which Porsche had finally resolved most of the original 911's mechanical anxieties. The 3.0-liter flat 6 was the most developed air-cooled engine Porsche had produced, with reliability figures that made the car's sporting credentials almost secondary. These engines, maintained properly, ran to extraordinary mileages without internal work. The bodies, galvanized from 1976 onward, resisted the rust that had consumed earlier 911s with embarrassing speed. The SC became the 911 that working racing drivers actually used, not because it was the fastest, because it was the most dependable. You could drive it to the circuit, race it, and drive it home. That dual capability, sporting and reliable simultaneously, was what Porsche had been trying to achieve since 1963. The SC is where they finally got there. Number 7. BMW E33 Series, 1982 to 1994. BMW in the early 1980s had a corporate philosophy that was almost aggressively simple. Build a car that does exactly what it claims to do and does it without fail for as long as the owner demands. No more. The E30 was the physical expression of that philosophy, and it produced one of the most structurally and mechanically coherent cars the German industry has ever made. The M20 and M10 inline engines were masterclasses in overbuilding for the application. Running at highway speeds, these motors were operating at a fraction of their engineering capacity. The result was longevity that surprised even BMW's own engineers. The chassis was rigid enough that decades of use didn't introduce the squeaks and rattles that afflicted competitors. The suspension geometry was conservative enough to remain correct even when components wore. In South Africa, where the E30 remained in production until 1990 and in active daily use for decades beyond that, mechanics developed a specific appreciation for what BMW had built. The cars didn't have complexity that failed. They had simplicity that lasted. Racing drivers still choose E30 platforms for budget motorsport, not because they're cheap, because the engineering underneath is so fundamentally correct that it doesn't need improving. Number 6. Mercedes-Benz G-Wagon W460, 1979 to 1991. Mercedes-Benz didn't design the G-Wagon for the consumer market. They designed it for the military. And when you design something for the military, you design it on the assumption that the people using it will have no access to spare parts, no access to workshops, and no patience for mechanical fragility. You design it to work regardless of what happens to it.
There are many routes which can be covered by a wide variety of cars.
The W460 was built on a fully separate ladder frame with body-on-frame construction that gave it structural resilience no monocoque could match. The axles were solid front and rear, military specification, capable of handling articulation and load that would destroy independent setups. The engines, particularly the OM617 5-cylinder diesel carried over from the W123, were selected specifically because they were known to be unkillable. Safari operators in East Africa still run W460 G-Wagons from the early 1980s as primary vehicles. Not restored, not maintained to Concours standard, just serviced with whatever is available and driven until something breaks, which apparently doesn't happen often enough to justify replacement. Mercedes built this vehicle to survive war. It turned out to also survive 40 years of peace with equivalent ease. Number 5. Audi 100 C3, 1982 to 1991. Audi in the early 1980s was obsessed with one thing: aerodynamics, not as a performance tool, as an efficiency and refinement strategy. The C3 Audi 100 arrived with a drag coefficient of 0.30, the lowest of any production car in the world at the time. The engineering required to achieve that figure produced a body so carefully resolved that it aged with a dignity that flashier contemporaries never managed. But the aerodynamics were only the most visible expression of a deeper engineering commitment. The 5-cylinder engines Audi used throughout the C3's production run were inherently balanced in a way that 4 cylinders and 6 cylinders were not, producing a smoothness that reduced internal stress and extended component life. The Quattro all-wheel drive system, available across the range from 1984, distributed mechanical loads across all 4 wheels rather than concentrating them, reducing wear rates dramatically. In Northern Europe, where roads are wet for 8 months a year and winter means genuine snow rather than inconvenience, the C3 with Quattro became a car people simply refused to replace. The combination of low aerodynamic drag for efficiency, 5-cylinder smoothness for longevity, and all-weather traction for confidence produced something that covered high mileages without drama and then kept going. Audi was trying to win an aerodynamics competition. They accidentally built a car for life. Number 4. Volkswagen Transporter T3, 1979 to 1992. Volkswagen looked at the T2 Transporter, a vehicle that had become culturally significant and mechanically respected, and asked a dangerous question. What if we built something better? The T3 answered that question with a van so over-engineered for its intended purpose that it became the vehicle of choice for everyone from Antarctic research teams to African overland expeditions. The water-cooled engines introduced through the T3's production run were a significant departure from the air-cooled units that had defined the transporter lineage. They were more powerful, more efficient, and critically, more reliable under sustained load. The diesel variants were particular beneficiaries of this transition, offering fuel economy and longevity that made commercial operators genuinely reluctant to replace them. The body construction was robust to a standard that modern vans don't approach. Panel thickness, structural rigidity, and the quality of sealing against moisture intrusion combined to produce vehicles that spent decades in commercial service without structural degradation. South African synchro variants with four-wheel drive were used by expedition teams on terrain that destroyed purpose-built off-road vehicles. The T3 just kept going because Volkswagen built it as though they expected it to need to. Number 3. Mercedes-Benz W124 E-Class, 1984 to 1996. If the W123 was overbuilt for its era, the W124 was overbuilt for any era. Mercedes-Benz knew the W123 had built a reputation for indestructibility and made a decision that their finance department almost certainly regretted. They would build the replacement to an even higher standard. The W124 was tested for over 5 million kilometers in development, not the typical pre-production mileage accumulation. 5 million kilometers of deliberate abuse, extreme climate testing, and systematic structural torture before a single example reached a customer. The M102 and M103 petrol engines and the OM602 diesel were built with the same obsessive tolerance standards that had made the W123's powertrains legendary. The bodies were zinc-coated on both sides of every panel. The wiring looms were overspecified. The switchgear was tested to cycle counts that assumed decades of daily operation. Every component was engineered as though the engineers knew it would need to last 30 years. Because they did know, that was the brief. Taxi operators in Stuttgart, where Mercedes is made and pride is therefore non-negotiable, ran W124 diesels to 1 million kilometers in documented cases. Not extraordinary cases, routine ones. The car that Mercedes built to follow the most reliable car they'd ever made somehow managed to be more reliable still. That achievement has never been repeated by any luxury manufacturer before or since. Number 2. BMW E28 5 Series, 1981 to 1988. The E28 represented BMW at a specific moment of corporate confidence. They knew the 3 Series was right. They knew the 7 Series was commanding. The 5 Series needed to bridge those identities without compromise in either direction. The result was a car that automotive journalists described as the most complete driving machine BMW had built, and that mechanics described in considerably more reverent terms. The M30 straight-six engine fitted to the 525i and 528i variants is one of the great overlooked engineering achievements of the German automotive industry. An engine so fundamentally correct in its design that BMW kept it in production for 26 years across multiple model generations. Owners who maintained it properly reported 400,000 kilometers without internal work as a matter of routine rather than exception. The engine didn't wear because it was never stressed. It operated within itself at all times, producing exactly the power it was asked for. Retaining the rest as reserve. The chassis was built to the same standard. Body rigidity that competitors didn't achieve until a generation later. Corrosion protection that kept examples in northern European salt environments structurally sound for decades. The E28 was BMW's quiet argument that German engineering wasn't just about performance, it was about permanence. Number 1. Mercedes-Benz W116 S-Class, 1972 to 1980. Here it is. the standard against which every other German car on this list was measured, consciously or not. The W116 S-Class wasn't just the most important Mercedes-Benz ever built. It was the car that established what German luxury engineering was supposed to mean, and it set that standard so completely that the entire industry spent the following decades trying to match it. Rudolf Uhlenhaut, the engineer who defined Mercedes-Benz's approach to vehicle development, insisted that the W116 be overbuilt in every measurable dimension. Not marginally overbuilt, dramatically. The body structure was engineered to a rigidity standard that the passenger car industry had never previously attempted. The engines, from the M116 V8 to the legendary OM617 diesel, were built with manufacturing tolerances that belonged in aerospace rather than automotive production. The corrosion protection was so thorough that W116 examples from the early 1970s still exist in structurally pristine condition in climates that should have consumed them within a decade. The 300 SD turbo diesel variant, introduced in 1978 as the world's first turbo diesel luxury car, was run by Los Angeles taxi operators to mileages that became industry folklore. Individual documented examples exceeded 900,000 kilometers on original engines. Not rebuilt, not re-engineered, original. The engine Mercedes designed in the early 1970s was still running reliably at mileages that modern vehicles will never approach. Every car on this list owes something to the W116. The W123's engineering standards were set in the shadow of it. The W124's development brief was to match and exceed it. Every German manufacturer that competed in the luxury segment during the 1980s was arguing with the benchmark the W116 had established. Mercedes built the W116 to prove something. That precision and permanence were not competing values, that a car could be refined and last forever. That good enough was the beginning of a conversation, not the end of one. 40 years later, the W116s are still out there, still running, still making the argument.